Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of this steaming pile of awesome.
The podcast where we watch shitty movies so you don't have to.
And once in a while, just once in a while, they're the right kind of bad, so maybe you should. I'm your host today, Rob Corlick, and with me always is my good friend, Darren Turzo. Darren, say hello to the nice people.
Hello to the nice people.
Oh, man, we've got a nice little treat here for these guys. Full disclosure, this is our second lap at this because we somehow lost the first version. So we're just going to roll into this and just go straight in. This is episode 7, Darren, and this is the Jason Statham classic, The Meg.
Mm-hmm.
What are your first impressions of this movie, buddy? What are you thinking?
Well, it's a muscle-bound bald man who's fighting a giant shark. So
we like him already.
I'm on board. Yeah.
You are here for it.
yeah, I'm here for this.
That's great, man. It's a great trailer, I have to admit. It won me over. It got my money, and I was in the theater on opening night watching this movie. So.
What's that?
It's a Megalodon. It's a Megalodon.
How big is that thing?
It was the largest shark that ever existed.
It's a Megalodon.
A living fossil.
It's a Megalodon.
Thought to have been extinct for over 2 million years. Wrong.
Let's see if you would watch my version of it, though. So here we go. Right. Another 2-minute drill. Would you watch this, Darren? An underwater research team discovers the ocean near China has a false bottom and can hold an undiscovered ecosystem. Thankfully, Dwight from The Office has made some savvy investments and has become a billionaire, funding the construction of a state-of-the-art research facility. A team discovers a new world under the giant cloud of water and are instantly attacked by a large unknown monster. The sub is crippled, and only Jason Statham can save them. They convince him to unhang up his diving flippers as he begins the descent to save the sub crew. On his way, he discovers that the monsters attacking them are a prehistoric killing machine, a giant shark known as...
The Megalodon.
Yes, the Megalodon. Yes, we're going to be doing that a lot. Our original plan was to just do that back and forth for 20 minutes, and that might be a better episode. All right.
And a better movie.
Maybe. Jason Statham attacks the monster. The monster attacks Jason Statham, and along with his witty 8-year-old sidekick, this ragtag group of wisecrackers try to take down the Meg before it devours as many people as it can while still maintaining its PG-13 rating for some reason. They kill the shark with 47 minutes left on the runtime. Darren, would you watch this?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, we have so much to chat about here, but you know what? Yeah. I don't think we're going to do it justice. So we're going to really focus in on like 3 or 4 key scenes and then basically talk about Dwight Schrute's character for the next 40 minutes straight. How about that? I love it.
What is my perfect crime? I break into Tiffany's at midnight. Do I go for the vault? No, I go for the chandelier. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, a woman catches me. She tells me to stop. It's her father's business. She's Tiffany. I say no. We make love all night. In the morning, the cops come and I escape in one of their uniforms. I tell her to meet me in Mexico, but I go to Canada. I don't trust her. Besides, I like the cold.
Okay, good.
30 years later,
He is so amazing in this movie. So the opening scene is of Jason Statham playing Jonas as he is a search and rescue operative, and he's down in a submarine trying to get a team out that has been badly injured. And as he is in this situation, he hears something crumpling in the sub from the outside. It's an unknown monster, but he swears it's something huge, it's something big, and it's shark-shaped. And everyone who's involved in the rescue just thinks he's gone crazy because he's just talking crazy talk. And unfortunately, he saves a whole bunch of people on this trip, but his crew doesn't make it out, and he has to leave them behind. So basically the whole setup, the premise of the movie that introduces Jonas is he's saving a bunch of people, but he had to make a tough decision and leave some people behind. And this is 5 years later from that. So at this point, that's all in the past, and Jonas has hung up his flippers. As I said, he's not doing it anymore. So we end up basically getting to a fun part of the movie where we get introduced to this whole group of characters that are involved in this underwater Chinese facility that's doing research, and it's 5 years after that fact. And like I said, Jonas is not a part of this group, but there's a whole bunch of other people. Why don't you take us through just a couple of these guys here with me, and just kind of give me your impressions of them, if you remember anything about them at all, because some of them are pretty forgettable.
It's been a while. So the characters, you have to give names for me. There's the lead scientist, who's the father of his I guess sidekick or junior scientist.
Yes, Dr. Chang.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, played by Winston Chow. He's the boss.
Yeah.
But he's not the benefactor. The benefactor is an evil Elon Musk character played by Rainn Wilson, a.k.a. Jack Morris, Dwight Shrute from The Office.
Mm-hmm.
Is this canonical Office sequel? Or are we not totally sure?
Yeah, I think that's what we agreed on last time, is that this was actually an interesting spin-off of The Office, that Dwight Shrute made some savvy investments, became a billionaire, changed his name, and then invested in this underwater science facility, and it's quite
he does
enjoyable.
kind of play the Dwight Shrute character, doesn't he? Like, he does kind of play similar. Yeah, he's like a crazier, more off-hinged version of him. But...
Yeah. And then we have
we've got Mac. Mac is played by Cliff Curtis. He's from Sunshine in the movie Fracture. Plays a bit character in this movie, but he does a great job. He's buddies with Jonas, but we don't know that yet. And then, of course, you've got Su Yin, played by Bing Bing Lee. She's the marine biologist that has the 8-year-old daughter that I mentioned in the opening 2-minute drill.
She's also the daughter of the other scientist, the first one that you mentioned. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Dr. Chang is grandpa, and Su Yin is mom. Yes. Ruby Rose plays Jax, who designed Mana 1 or something. We don't get a lot of backstory on her, but she is being the best Ruby Rose that she can be in this movie too, and she does a great job as Ruby Rose, playing Ruby Rose, so I can't complain. She's a genuine badass, and she gets the nod from Jason Statham, so you know what, I can't argue with that.
She's got the J-Stay stamp of approval.
The J-Stay thumbs up. We have Lori, who's played by Jessica McNamee. She's an admitted murderer for Greenpeace, and she will come into play a little bit later because she's the captain of the sub, and she has a very special relationship with Jonas. And in her crew, there is also The Wall, played by Olafur Olafsson, and Toshi, played by Masaoka, who you, of course, know him from Hero Nakamura. That's right. His name was Hero in a show called Heroes, and he is playing Toshi here today. So we get to see a little bit of the hidden world underneath this weird cloud that they thought was the bottom of Mariana's Trench, but turns out it's just this layer of sulfur dioxide that is non-penetrable by living creatures because it would kill them to try and go through it. So they thought this was a bottom, but turns out it's a false bottom. And they have discovered this whole ecosystem underneath, and we kind of get a little bit of that until their sub is attacked by something aggressive, and they are stranded at the bottom of Mariana's Trench, and they need air. So now Mac has a suggestion, and there's only one man, Darren, who can save these people, much to the chagrin of the doctor on Mana 1, because he has some bad history with this guy. Who are they calling to save the day, buddy?
They're calling none other than Jason Statham. And we should add, it's very 50-50 on everybody's opinion. Either they really want Jason Statham there, or they really don't want him.
100% against him. Yeah,
he's super polarizing in this. Yeah.
He's either like the savior or Hitler. We don't know which one.
Yeah,
he's either Hitler or Bigfoot, right? Like we can't tell.
Who knows? They both need to be killed, though.
Yes. What?
What?
Oh, yeah, they did. That's right. That is a bad analogy here.
Yeah.
So of course, we get "Hey Mickey" performed by the Thai band Pim, played completely in Thai, which introduces Jonas at the bar, and he's been drinking too much, and of course they corner him at his house, and he says, "I don't do that anymore," like all good protagonists going through some stuff do. But they play a tape for him, and sure enough, he realizes that the pilot is in fact his ex-wife. Dun dun dun. So he's got to go save his ex-wife. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm gonna let it slide for now. It's like she got herself into that mess. She can get herself out. So this is the part where I really love breaking down a movie, because we get these like really fun meat moments with Jonas and the whole crew, because he, like you said, he's either like people are excited to see him or they just absolutely hate his guts. So the way he interacts with everybody is good. So Toshi is in the sub writing his goodbye note because they don't think they're going to make it. And Su Yin decides that they can't wait for Jonas, and she takes her glider down herself to tow them up. So she's a bit of a badass herself. She says goodbye to her daughter, who is like left unattended. This is the first time we see her like playing in a research facility all by herself with like dangerous and like expensive equipment right nearby. This is like the first of 7 times or something she's left alone. So she's a pretty good kid. She can play by herself. But yeah, her mom basically says like, it's dangerous, but I'll try my best to come back. And she's off. So Jonas shows up, but he's got to get checked out by the doctor, who hates him first. And this situation doesn't go so well. They end up roughing each other up a bit. And but he ends up giving them the go-ahead. You can go down there and save these people. So he starts prepping these really high-tech subs that have all these display cases and glass everywhere. It's really kind of a cool set that they're working with here, Darren. Would you not agree with me on that?
Oh, yeah. The visual in this movie was really good. All of the and everything were really well done. Certainly a lot better than the Sharknado sharks.
Careful. Careful.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to consent that the shark did look better in this movie than the 1,100 sharks in the Sharknado. I agree. That's not a fair comparison, but I will consent. I will consent to that. And the things that they made for this movie that are real, also the set pieces just look awesome. So, of course, as he's prepping the sub, the little girl is in the sub. This is the second time that someone has spotted her playing near dangerous equipment. And she's just like, "Oh, yeah, you must be the crazy guy." So that's her first line to him when they meet. And these two just hit it off like so good at the beginning of this movie. They've got great chemistry, and they're going to be buds the rest of the movie, no problem. So he psychs himself up. He punches it. He goes down. And, of course, Su Yin is trying to get down to them, but she can't because a huge squid attacks her glider and crushes it. So what saves her, Darren? Do you remember?
I think it's the Megalodon comes and bites the squid, is it not?
That's right. So the first introduction to our good guy in this movie is he's murdering a bunch of innocent people. And the first introduction to the bad guy in the movie, the Megalodon, is it's incidentally, but still saving one of the main characters from a giant squid. So they're flipping our expectations here. Are we supposed to cheer for the Megalodon at this point, or what's going on?
I'm not really sure. There's a lot of confusion as to who's the protagonist and antagonist in this movie.
Fine. Giant shark, Jason Statham.
Yeah. Oh, which one? Yeah.
Okay, fine. I may have been barking up a wrong tree. So, of course, this is where we get the titular announcement of Jason Statham somehow pronouncing the Megalodon as one syllable.
It's Megalodon.
I didn't know that was possible until I watched this movie, but sure enough, he looks straight into the camera and says, "The Megalodon."
Megalodon.
Great. Toshi has to sacrifice himself so that they can get away in time, because they have to like latch a thing and they have to turn the lights on, and there's a bunch of things they have to do, and the Megalodon is coming back. So Toshi sacrifices himself. He tucks his goodbye note to his wife in the wall's pocket, and the wall and the ex-wife are saved.
Tell me this isn't the world's best I told you so.
You came all the way here just to tell me that, didn't you?
Pretty much.
But once again, when Jonas gets to the surface, he is again blamed for not saving everyone. I didn't like this. This was the first time in the movie where I was kind of like, come on, guys, you're reaching a bit here. Like, did you not think, like, they're really trying hard to, like, make these guys not like Jason Statham? It's like, I saved a bunch of dudes, so...
Yeah, it was a big stretch. Like, first of all, we have Jason Statham, who has basically turned himself into a recluse drunk, and somehow still the best option for them, completely out of practice, comes in cold, goes to the bottom, past of what everybody knows to be the actual bottom of the ocean.
Yes.
And saves 2 people out of the 3 people that are in, or 3 people out of the 4 people in 2 different subs. Yeah. Like,
yes, fair
really enough. Like, he does a pretty good job, and it's a pretty big stretch for the people to blame him for Toshi's death.
Yeah,
so.
they don't hesitate to make that jump. That's like, and the doctor's leading the way again. He's like, he's gone crazy with deep sea madness again. And like, his defending line is great. He says, like, when you go down that deep, you're taking your life in your own hands. Like, we do the best we can. So anyway, Lori is hurt. We didn't mention that, but she's stabilized by the doctor and she's fine. And she apologizes. The first thing she does when she's conscious is she apologizes for not believing him before, because maybe this was a big part of their like breakup. We don't know, because they don't really go into it. But these two have a really interesting relationship that I do want to talk about a little bit later, because she is so quick to wingman for him and get him into the next major relationship of his life.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
And what else he's quickly to get into? A shower. This is our naked Jason Statham scene. I think it's something he has to have in every one of his movies. And hey, I'm not complaining, man. It was so.
It's
he's
definitely
going to take
written into his rider.
It's. Yeah. I want my own gym, and I want a seat in every movie.
He is after all handsome Rob.
That's right. He is handsome Rob.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Nice to meet you. I'm handsome Rob. And you are?
Oh, my name's Becky, but it's written on my shirt.
Listen, I'm gonna need your shirt and your truck.
Perfect. I'll give them both to you. Would you like my virginity as well?
If it's on the menu.
Oh, you're so witty. Why don't you take advantage of me?
Yeah, you're not too bright, are you?
No.
Perfect.
Oh, God. So he's got his towel on, and there's a knock at the door, and Su Yin has come in, and she is so headstrong. She is so like hell bent to say what she needs to say to him. She starts immediately into her speech, and she doesn't even realize that he's completely naked in front of her until about halfway through her apology. She, of course, excuses herself from the situation, realizing that he is not in any condition to be having a conversation with her. But you notice as they're leaving, there's these giant metal porthole with glass on each of the doors in Mana 1. And she turns around and she catches a quick peek of old naked Statham, man. She's buying what he's selling, Darren.
Yeah, she has not seen enough to satisfy her pleasures.
No.
So she definitely peeks back in,
Yeah. She needed a sequel.
Yeah.
So Dwight's a little upset because he doesn't think that should be a reason to stop doing what they're doing. Having this giant shark down there just means they just have more things to research. But everyone else is on board saying, like, this is bad. We don't want to go down there again, because what that is a prehistoric killing machine, and anything you send down there will be a good chance of it not coming back. Jonas tells the gang once he gets in from his shower and finishes blow drying his skull. Jonas tells them, it's like, man versus Meg isn't a fight, it's a slaughter. And at this point, the little girl runs into the Meg. So you want to talk us through what is probably the best scene in the whole movie, Darren? We've got the little kid playing with the remote control light up ball. And why don't you talk us through this, buddy? I'll let you have this one.
Yeah, she's in an obvious an area where children shouldn't be, a construction zone of sorts in the bottom of the ocean in a subterranean ocean viewing port. She catches a glimpse of the Megalodon right in front of her. And the Meg, of course, true to form of any shark in any movie, decides to try and eat her, and it basically just clamps onto the side of the viewing tube of the whole building, but does not penetrate the glass.
No, and we now know that the Megalodon has somehow followed them back up from what they didn't think it could get through. The bottom layer has been penetrated. So some of the scientists, when of course she screams because a giant shark tried to bite her. So a little kid, of course, this is nightmare fuel. She screams. Jason Statham and her mom come running and basically see the big bite mark on the tube, and they realize that the Megalodon has followed them. They talked to the scientists at the research area, and they said, yeah, like when your guys' sub came back up, it left a little hole, and the Megalodon could have gotten through there. It's closed up now, so we're good, but the Megalodon definitely could have made it through. So we've got a big problem here. And just as they say that, they get a distress call. So 3 boats have been attacked by the Meg, and their plan to try and figure out like what they're going to do is they need to put a tracking dart on its fin so they can track it down and kill it. They decide, against literally everything we've seen so far in the movie, that one person in the water won't be a threat. And they volunteered Jonas to go for a swim. Oh my God, I can't even say this out loud. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The thing literally tried to eat one little girl just 2 minutes ago. It just ate 3 boats for no reason other than they were there. And they're like, yeah, one guy in the water isn't going to attract it. It won't be aggravated by that.
It'll barely even notice.
Yeah, it's like a mosquito on its back. It's just not even going to, like, spoiler alert, like later when the one person's in a tube, it goes after the one person too. So, like, they're obviously very wrong here. But Jonas is up for a swim. So, did you notice what he was humming when he was swimming here, buddy?
We're going to be fine.
Keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
From Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. So a little Dory reference here. I loved it. It was cute. It like Jason Statham does a great job. They don't give him much to do. He doesn't get to like roundhouse kick a shark in the mouth, but from what he got to do, I really enjoyed it. So this was another moment where like you get to see like the fact that he is like a genuine badass swimmer in real life. So he's out there just cruising around trying to tag this shark. So I can't believe they managed to accomplish this, but they managed to get a 90-foot shark to do a jump scare, and it actually worked on me here. Big noise, and then it freaks him out, and basically he manages to tag this shark at this point. So now they know where it's going, and they can tell where it is, and they've got these ideas for how they're going to kill it. They've got this harpoon with a poison dart, and they're going to go into this big, basically it's like a plastic pill bottle, and they're going to jump inside, and there's like a little opening in it, and it can't, the glass is designed so that the shark bite can't penetrate the glass, it can't break. But they can, when it does attack the tube, they can shove this dart into its throat and inject it with poison, and it will eventually kill the Megalodon. It won't happen right away, but it will. It'll work eventually, kind of thing. Su-Yin jumps into the tank, much to the chagrin of Jonas. He thinks he should be the one to go, and she basically tells him, like, you don't get to do all the fun. So she's a marine biologist. She's going to kill the shark. So Dwight's not happy about this, by the way. He thinks they should keep the shark alive and study it or trap it and use it or whatever. But they all
like he's got he's got a fish tank at home that's big enough for the Megalodon. Yes. He's just gonna like, I kind of want to keep it as a pet, you know.
The
like,
man built
how to jump and shit.
You know, I just think of like Despicable Me when like the guy he's got like the shark in his floor and he just like, like thumps on his floor.
Quiet down, fish.
That'd be great. Hey man, he built Man of One. He's got enough money. He can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the first time in the whole movie where we get like an actual real shot of the whole shark. And like you said, they spent a lot of money to make this thing look good. And it does. It chomps down on the tube and it shakes her and she drops her gun. So she can't, it's in the bottom of the pill bottle at this point, and she has to crawl down and get it. But meanwhile, the Meg is actually swallowing her tube like a vitamin D capsule.
Yeah.
So they didn't plan for that. So of course, Jonas has to save the day. So he strips down to his wetsuit and he dives into the water to go get this shark now. So
at some point, does Su-Yin realize that like every time she tries to be a hero and do this stuff on her own, that she just really actually needs Jason Statham to save her? Like, does she take a step back at any point in this movie and she's like, you know what, maybe the third time's not a charm and I should just sit this one out,
let this guy do it?
This guy's clearly the protagonist of this adventure.
He's gonna save my bacon each time. I thought of it like Lois Lane. Like, she can get into all kinds of trouble because she knows Superman's gonna catch her. Like, it's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Like sure, I'll go into this untested helicopter and fall out of it. I've got this last son of Krypton to catch me from 4 kilometers away.
Like, oh no, Lex Luthor's gonna throw thing.
Don't do it again. Yeah, exactly.
She like, jumps off on her own and she's like, oh no, what's going on?
Lex is like, no, that wasn't part of the plan. Don't worry, he'll catch me anyway. Yeah, so Su-Yin manages to get the gun. But the Meg is destroying the crane that they were using to lower the pill bottle in with, because he's pulling on this thing. And in the process, Su-Yin's mask is cracked. So she's losing air. It's a dramatic moment. We've got our ticking clock now because she's going to run out of air soon. He's almost back. He ends up hitting the boat, and Ruby Rose ends up going into the water. They're about 2 feet from Jonas and Su-Yin. He takes a few snaps at them, but of course they've got him in the throat with this thing. And just as they're right near the boat and the shark is bearing down on them, it just about bites them and its eyes roll back and it's dead. So the poison works, Darren. And like I said before, there's 47 minutes left in the runtime, and they have defeated the one and only shark in the movie
that could possibly pose a threat. Yeah, that's right.
And like all trophy fishermen, they grab it, lift it out of the water with the crane to kind of take a good look at it and to take trophy pictures with it. And this is when we get our first big reveal. This is like a movie that has this shocking twist. So of course, we should have said this earlier, but spoilers. We spoil every movie we talk about, but this one in particular, there is a big twist, Darren. What is the twist?
There is another bigger Megalodon.
Yes,
and it
much
jumps,
bigger.
It jumps out of the water and snatches the baby shark.
The baby shark.
Snatches the baby shark out of midair and feasts on it and takes off.
It does. Yeah. And we've been exposed to the real threat of the movie now. Yeah. What's really funny is I watched this in the theater and I didn't know that was coming. So it was a legitimate Like, it was well hidden. It wasn't in the trailer or anything, which is, in fact, in the trailer, they edit out the little shark in the trailer. So it looks like just the one Meg is attacking the boat. So they actually CG out the other shark. Or don't put it in, I guess. Sorry, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not.
They put it in and
know.
then take it out. They're like, this is so much more work.
Yeah, why did we do all this work?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it, Johnson! You could have just told us that at the beginning.
Now, I think in this scene it would have been really good if they had have tried to cram another word into Jason Statham's single syllable Megalodon.
That would have been
like,
great.
If he goes like, "It's the bigger Megalodon."
It's a bigger Megalodon. It's Megalodon Prime.
It just doesn't work. Like, it's a bigger Megalodon.
This is a bigger Megalodon.
They're like, oh, what?
Oh my god!
Everybody looks over and they're like,
"Are
what?
you having a stroke?" Do you smell burnt toast, Jason Statham?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like, it's funny though. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. In the theater, it was a surprise. But later, fast forward, of course, we're reviewing this much later in its run. I've seen the Blu-rays and the DVDs in stores. They literally spoil that on the DVD because they have the actual Meg in the middle of the picture, and then they have teeth coming up from the bottom of the box. So they literally spoil the one really good thing going for the movie on the box of the movie people buy. So hopefully they're buying it because they've seen it already and they like it. But yeah. Anyway, that's weird. Like, why would you do that?
I like that you were surprised that there was another shark after sitting in the theater for 45 minutes. You're like, oh, wow, they wrapped this up like an episode of Star Trek. It's less than an hour and the bad guy's defeated. And you're like,
yes, perfect.
And the other one comes out and you're like, oh my God.
Oh,
no, I didn't at all.
I did not see that. They got me. They got me again.
Like, it would have been beautiful to have somebody like you at the premiere and like everybody turns around to him like, dude, we're 47 minutes into this.
Serious.
How did you not know that was coming?
I thought the rest was going to be a rom-com between him and the girl and his ex-wife and how they work out all their differences. Anyway, so Dwight now has realized that this thing is bad and it's going worse. So he uses his extensive clientele and knowledge of people and social network to basically get a kill force to hunt down this shark. So they're hoping that they can track it down. And he basically, tells everyone else that in this big speech how they're going to band together and work together and they're not going to do anything. And he's going to be they're going to take care of it. But no, he's just lying. He goes hunting because he doesn't want a lawsuit. And they actually kill a giant water creature, but it's not the Megalodon, Darren. It is a whale. So, they drop a bomb onto this thing and it explodes and a bunch of guys get covered in whale goo, which is a great scene. And then they realize that their noise and the dead whale in the water has attracted the actual Megalodon. So they decide they're going to take off and get out of there because they can't do anything with the Meg actually there. So Dwight's standing on the back of the boat and he tells them to get the hell out of there and they punch it and he suffers from Newton's first law and he goes back up over the water. And into the drink does he go. So his only solace at this point is to climb onto the dead whale carcass and try and get away from the Meg. So do you remember what happens here? Because this is kind of a neat scene with him.
Oh, I think he he definitely gets eaten along with the whale carcass because as if the Meg's gonna pass up on a free schmorg that they just had ready made for him.
They basically handed him a TV dinner at this point. So the shuffle is here.
I picture you again in the theater as like you're like, oh good, Dwight is safe on top of that whale carcass. And then the Meg comes up and you're like, oh my god, I didn't see this coming. Like, what a huge reveal.
And then the usher comes up to me, sir, you're going to have to leave.
You're going to have to leave.
You're really making it hard on the rest of these people. So he's on the whale carcass. He thinks he's safe. The Mega's coming straight at him. You can see the giant fin coming out of the ocean, and it chomps down, but it misses Dwight. It chomps right beside Dwight, and it pulls a big chunk of meat off, and there's a bunch of blood spray, and it's gross. Dwight is left behind. The reveal is like the chomp hits, and then as it gets pulled away, Dwight's still clutching it like a cat not wanting to leave a scratching post, and basically he has this big sigh of relief, like, oh, good, he missed me, I'm safe. And then again, of course, the chomp happens, the second chomp, and all that's left behind is like his two hands, and of course, Dwight is now being digested by a megalodon. So I didn't fall for that one. That one I didn't fall for. Fool me once, Darren. Shame on you. Yeah, shame on you, Megalodon number 2, and your weird runtime.
Yeah, weird runtime. What was the actual runtime of this movie?
I'm not sure.
Probably like 123 minutes, like every other movie.
Yes, exactly. No, I think it was.
Blown away.
I think it came in at like at 90 something. I think it was. Yeah. It's a shorter movie actually. It's like a nice, tight, really CG'd movie that takes place. Yeah, there you go.
Now that I think about it, I also enjoy the idea of you like halfway through your popcorn in Maltesers when the first Megalodon gets eaten. And
first of all, Maltesers? Are you kidding
so
me?
You're like the Megalodon's hanging by the back of the boat, and you're just like, oh shit, I'm not even done my popcorn yet. You just dump the and then the second Megalodon comes in, and you're like, oh, but now I'm all out of chocolate and popcorn.
I have to go buy more. These junior mints won't eat themselves.
And I'll have you know that Maltesers are my absolute favorite to go with popcorn at the theater.
Everyone's entitled, as my good friend Darren would say, everyone's entitled to their own wrong opinion.
Wrong opinion, yeah.
Okay, so we got to keep this thing moving. So we're getting to there's like 2 scenes left in the movie, really long extended scenes, but we're going to talk about them briefly. But we've got the beach scene, and then the final kind of showdown with the Meg. So they track this giant shark to the Sanya Bay beach, which is like a beach off of the coast of China, and the Meg is kind of showing up here with a heavily populated beach. There's thousands of people swimming, a whole bunch of different colored inner tubes, and people on wakeboards and paddle boards and all these fun things, and everybody's just having a good old time. So there's thousands of extras in this scene. There's inner tubes and inflatable. Like, you have these little gopher balls where these people are running around inside the plastic ball and staying out of the water. And you got some these 2 floating docks. There's 3 actually, but the 2 that they show in this scene, there's one full of girls and one full of boys, and the boys are kind of catcalling the girls, and they're kind of doing like the wave thing, and all of this is happening. Meanwhile, the Meg is swimming quietly underneath them, and we have this really cool like top-down scene where like the Meg is under a paddle boarder as they're kind of rowing. It's actually really, really well done. And we get introduced to Pippin the dog. For some reason, of all those people, we have to watch a dog swimming around from a boat wedding that I guess people do. Pippin is the first casualty of the shark because Pippin's swimming around in the water, and all of a sudden the shark shows up, and then Pippin is gone. So we assume that Pippin has been the first casualty of Sanya Bay, and the Meg is coming towards the shore at this point. So there's a really cool scene that I like about this is they have the those big floating docks I talked about. So we've got the boys on one, the girls on the other, and a bunch of people on the third one. And the anchors that kind of hold it in place have these big chains. And as the Meg swims by the chains, it accidentally hooks onto them, and it drags them along for the ride. So you actually get like the 3 docks kind of floating along with the Meg from the surface. So you can see the Meg's kind of impression underneath the water, but then you get these 3 docks coasting along with the Meg. Did this remind you of anything, buddy?
Not offhand.
No? Yeah. It's pretty much shot the exact same way as the 3 yellow barrels in Jaws. So it's like
Oh,
it's
yes,
an ode
right.
to Jaws. So in Jaws they shoot the barrels at the shark, that they hook into the shark, and they force the shark to surface because it has to fight the buoyancy of the 3 barrels, and it can't fight it forever, and it has to come up to the surface, and that's when they can attack it, right? So that was the whole point of it in Jaws. In this, it's just incidental, but it's just an ode to them, which I thought was kind of cool that they did that, because like barrels wouldn't work with a megalodon, so they've got these big floating docks, and all the people are spilling off, and it's eating people, and everyone's screaming. It's complete mayhem at this point. It's popping the gopher balls, which is a great scene, and it's like it's got, as it swims by at one point, you can see its teeth because it's like doing the shark smile. It's got all of the little inner tube colors in its teeth, so it looks like it's got like residue from eating all these people. So at this point, our group of heroes have caught up with the shark, and Jonas is in one glider and Suyin is in another, and they each have one missile that they can use to blow up the shark. They have to get it real close for it to actually work.
Is that how missiles work?
Yeah.
The closer you shoot a missile, the more explosive.
And I guess I should say torpedo because it's underwater. It's an underwater missile, so we'll call it a torpedo. But
but is that how
sure,
torpedoes work?
I think
because I don't think so.
They kind of explode in all directions. So
yeah,
maybe it was like it'd be enough to hurt it, but it could swim away. I don't know. I call an oceanographer on this one, man. I can't help you with this. But she takes a shot. And it is an important plot point because she takes a shot and it's too far away and it doesn't kill it. It just kabooms, and the shark, they think they got it, but the shark's fine. He's not even hurt. But what it does is we get these large explosions on the surface of the water, and it attracts a bunch of news helicopters that just happen to be nearby filming Sanya Bay, and they all kind of come over to see what the commotion is all about. The Meg is got Suyin and Jonas cornered. Jonas needs to go after everybody to save them, so he has to charge straight at them. And when the torpedo exploded earlier, one of his engines was damaged, and he's left with just metal shards and a whole bunch of debris. And he's running off of one prop blade at this point. So his vehicle is damaged. He can't get away from the shark. And by going up to him, it's going to sacrifice himself, basically. So he puts himself in between the Megalodon and the people, his friends from the boat behind him. So Jonas does that, and he charges straight at the shark. The Meg is coming straight at him. And basically, right at the last minute, he dodges. And when he does, he turns the damaged propeller area up and slices the Meg from chin to butthole. The whole belly of this thing is sliced clean open. And at this point, he's hurt, but the Meg is not dead. So it starts chomping down on his glider, and he ejects. He stabs a knife into the side of the Meg, and the Meg takes off into the air, and he hangs on for dear life, basically, and gets out the poison dart that they had from before, and a new one like that anyway. The shark leaves the water into the air, and right at the apex of the jump, Jason Statham swings over and stabs the harpoon into the Megalodon's eye, and we can see it squish down into the Meg's brain, and he has killed the giant shark. So
basically with his bare hands.
Yes. No roundhouse kicks, but he kills the giant shark with his bare hands. So he gets towed in. He goes past the wedding boat at this point, and we notice that Pippin is in fact still alive. But the dog is swimming out in the middle of the ocean by itself, and nobody picks it up. They just kind of like let it keep swimming.
Just cruise by. Yeah,
they just cruise by,
like,
stare at the dog.
He'll be fine.
What's up, dog? Yeah, he'll be fine.
Pippin. He swims all the time. Yeah,
Pippin loves the ocean. He just loves swimming. Yeah. So, like, all the survivors are quietly celebrating, and Jonas basically says he needs a vacation, and Suyin completely agrees, and they kind of give each other a nice little look, But no kiss for Statham today. The little girl kind of gets in the way, and it doesn't end up happening. But we have success. Everyone that is still alive is still alive, and the movie ends with Finn again.
Yeah,
the
Finn,
French,
yes.
the French version for finished. Finn has poked its head up again for our second shark movie in a row. But at least there's no Godsmack this time. What do you think, Darren? Was it a good movie for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Good end credits.
Yeah. You know what? And really, Jason Statham movies mostly are going to be exactly this, right? They're hokey, they're action. Now, most of the time he's fighting. Yeah, most of the time he's fighting with his hands instead of with sophisticated weapons and torpedoes that apparently expire as they propel through the water.
Yes.
We're gonna really have to get down to the science on this.
We will find this.
Never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's all right.
I just feel like that's probably not what.
I'm sorry, your torpedo is stale dated. You should have bought it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you need to shoot it within 200 meters of the Megalodon. Otherwise, it kind of wears out as it goes.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry. What again? Oh man, that's great. Maybe this movie would have been better with Godsmack in the final credits.
Maybe a little. Yeah. Or if it just ended 47 minutes in.
Yeah. That would have been okay. I'd have been all right with that, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird things that happen in this movie. So, like, that's the end of the movie, and we don't have to talk about it anymore. But, like, there's so many funny little interesting things that happen that we didn't talk about. So the one I do want to talk about is, first of all, like, Dwight's, like, character arc, because that's hilarious. He starts off being, like, this hokey, kind of, like, quirky, he owns everything, but he's just kind of like your buddy in a blazer and a hat, and he has one of the best lines in the movie that I'm going to save for later. But basically, he's like everybody's buddy, and then all of a sudden he turns like straight like guy from Jurassic Park, like we have to win at all costs and keep the thing open. And then he has this nice turn where he actually has a character arc where he evolves and says, "No, guys, like I've come around. You guys are right. We got to take this thing out. We got to do this right. And we got to call. We called for backup. We got everybody coming. People are coming to save you guys. They'll be here in the morning." And it was all a lie. He's actually just buying himself time to go kill the thing himself. And no one's coming to help them. So he kind of left a whole bunch of innocent people that work for him there left for dead. Like they can't get out of the area. And he ends up getting eaten by a shark. Like, what a great character arc for this guy. It's like, it just goes on a ride, man. It's more like a character roller coaster.
Yeah.
Oh.
It would be like, if you want to reference Jurassic Park, he's kind of like Richard Attenborough's character. And the lawyer kind of like going back and forth. He's like, he's this adorable old man, but he's kind of making some bad decisions about the way to operate this disaster. And then he's like, but now he's a scummy jerk who left the kids in the vehicle to go poop.
Yes, he sure did.
And then he gets eaten, and you're like, "That's right, you got what you coming to."
You got it. Yeah, maybe that's exactly the motivation. They're like, we have to kill his character, so let's make him evil at the last minute, so it's okay.
Yeah,
that's fair. The other thing that I really like is the relationship that Jason Statham has with the daughter, because these two just like get along perfectly from start to finish. You can tell like Jason Statham must be an awesome dude in real life, because like he's so nice to this kid, and the kid is so comfortable, and like you don't see this too often in movies where they actually you can actually be like, you could believe that these two would like hang out outside of the set, kind of thing. So
he's going to be awesome. A real solid stepdad.
Yeah, I hope so.
It just goes right into it,
Maybe we'll find that out in the Meg too, because like there is no evidence to suggest these two are going to get together. Like they flirt the entire movie and they get along great, and you think for sure at least 2 times in the movie they might bone down, and then something happens that makes it so they can't.
Whoa, hold up. Just so everybody knows, Rob here has gone from talking about Jason Statham and the 8-year-old girl to Jason Statham and the mother of the 8-year-old girl.
You segued into stepdad.
You really, really got to work on pronouns.
Oh, God. Jesus. I'm sorry, I inferred that Jason Statham was going to court an 8-year-old. That is not. This is all getting cut out. There's no way it's surviving.
That has to stay.
Oh, staying in? Fine. Whatever. So Jason Statham and the mother are really hitting it off, but they flirt and they don't go anywhere. But the best part about that is even though they don't need any help because they're obviously getting along, his ex-wife is on the scene and totally rooting for them to get together. And it's just like, oh, you need to go out, get your dinky stinky. It's fine. Go ahead, man. It's all
Jesus.
good. Is that not a quote from the movie? I thought it was.
I think it's in the third act.
It's in.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this podcast.
It's done.
What do we got?
It's done. Okay, so just a little bit of research before we get to our numbers. Most of this movie was not filmed in China, even though it's a joint movie with both American theaters and Chinese theater companies. China paid a huge amount of money to get this movie made. But most of the movie actually takes place in New Zealand, a place called Auckland. The water scenes were filmed mostly in 2 large tanks. So one tank, which I thought this was kind of cool. One tank was really, really like wide, but pretty shallow. So the actors could like swim around and be comfortable. So all the surface stuff was done in that with a big green screen behind it. And then the other tank was like a smaller tank, but really, really deep. And a lot of the Mana 1 stuff was done there. So they had the actual depth of a real tank. So a lot of it was filmed in these 2 tanks, which is like, I mean, that's the best way to control. I thought that was kind of cool. The beach scenes were filmed on location in New Zealand. Some shots were actually from China, but there were also some from British Columbia, Canada, which is we're Canadian. So that's kind of cool that a lot of this was actually done in Canada as well. As far as I could tell, this was based on a novel where large sharks evolved to be albinos in 0 light depths of the ocean. So they don't actually do that in this movie for obvious reasons, but like a lot of that is because they would look really weird and they wanted them to look more like great whites so people would be more afraid of them. And of course, like the albino would be really hard to shoot in CG because like white underwater skin would be extremely reflective and it would have probably doubled their costs to do that. So they just basically made it look like a great white. And they also had tons of footage of great whites that they could use for reference, and they decided not to go that way. So that's kind of neat. There was a scene earlier too that we didn't talk about that was kind of fun, where Ruby Rose is knocked into the water by the crane when the Meg was pulling on the crane hook and everything's going crazy in the water. Everyone thought that her like flailing around and being scared as she was swimming was just brilliant acting, and everyone was just amazed. In fact, when they yelled cut, everyone like clapped for her, saying like how amazing her acting was because it looked so real. It turns out she was drowning, so yeah, it was pretty real. Her clothing waterlogged, and it actually started dragging her under the water to the point where she didn't have the strength to surface. So she was actually for real drowning because her shoes, her big boots or whatever she was wearing, filled up with water. So, they couldn't keep her head above the water and the gear pulled her underneath. So divers on set, for safety reasons, actually rescued her and kept her from dying. So that's kind of cool.
For safety reasons. You mean this exact reason?
Exact scenario? Saying like, okay, fine, justify your paychecks.
We'll go in there, I guess. Yeah.
So Winston Chow plays the dad, who we didn't even really talk about because unfortunately he's not in the movie much, and then he does die, spoiler alert, halfway through the movie anyway. But like, you want to guess how old he is compared to his daughter Bing Bing Lee in this movie?
I'm gonna guess
what their age difference. 10 years.
10
yes,
years.
He's 13 years older. 13 years older.
That a boy.
Oh my goodness.
Literally that a boy.
Yeah, I don't care. So the director of this movie is John Turteltaub. I can't make a name up like that. John Turteltaub is the director of this movie, The Meg. He also directed some movies that I think you've heard of. While You Were Sleeping. Yeah, and National Treasure, a Nick Cage masterpiece. A Travolta movie called Phenomenon. Have you heard of that movie?
Love that movie.
Yeah. And another movie you love, Cool Runnings. He directed that.
I love that movie.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's just me then.
You know what, with Cool Runnings, I just never bought it. I could never get behind the story of a Jamaican bobsled team.
Even though it's based literally on
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Couldn't buy it. Couldn't get behind
Evidently, I'm an idiot.
Guess the budget for this movie, my friend. Redeem yourself.
We're going to go with $87 million.
Ooh, 87. Double that. It cost $150 million to make this movie. There is a lot of CG
massively profitable, right?
Yes, it'd have to be. It only made $145 million in the U.S. and Canada, but worldwide, thanks to its Chinese influence, $530 million. So it is a raging success. $500 million for this movie's gross. So yeah, there'll most likely be a sequel as a result of that. We get to my favorite part. My favorite part of our podcast is where we talk about some of our favorite things. We're going to talk favorite characters first and then go to some of my favorite lines. And Darren is going to have to choose his favorite from my list. Darren, first of all, did you have a favorite character in this movie?
You know, I can't remember who I picked in the first time we did this, but I'm going to go with the little girl.
The little girl. Awesome.
Yeah.
She does a great job.
She was super funny. She had some nice comic relief moments, and it was just like it was cool watching her go back and forth with Jason Statham and around and stuff. And
she does a great job with that.
I don't want to jinx it, but there might be romance in the air.
Oh no. With her mom? Obviously.
Yes,
because we would never allude to something so gross.
No.
There was a guy that we didn't even talk about. I feel so bad not mentioning him. But like, he's like the guy that can't swim, but he works on like a facility that's in the middle of the ocean. And he gets knocked into the water at one point and like really freaks out. But yeah, so he's not my favorite. He's my runner-up. I'm going with Mac. Yeah, I'm going to go with Mac.
Yeah. We also didn't talk much about Mac.
No, we didn't. We should have probably. But right after Jason Statham roughs up the doctor, he says, lucky he doesn't hold a grudge, which is like an awesome line. And it was kind of like, I didn't know for sure if he was my favorite character, but like at one point, there's like one point earlier in the movie where he's getting ready to like go harpoon the first Meg and track it. And Jason Statham basically says like, don't worry, man, I'll do it. And he's like, oh, good. I never had planned to go anyway.
Get really close before you shoot.
Great.
If you want me to go instead, I will.
I got this, Mac.
Okay, good, because I was lying. Be safe.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
It's like he was like totally bluffed. Oh man, I was so bluffing. Like I was not going in there. Are you kidding me? There's a giant shark in there.
I don't know if you noticed, but it's a bigger megalodon.
It's literally a huge giant shark, and it looks hungry. But the one that won him over for me was like there's like a scene when the two of them are getting ready to do their like torpedo maneuver, and they're getting everything ready. And basically, Jason Statham kind of asks Su Yin like, "How do you want this to go?" And she's just laying it on him like, I'm the boss. You listen to me. I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And like, she's really laying it on thick to him. And the scene's great because it just kind of like cuts over to Mac and he's watching his buddy just get completely raked over the coals by this lady. And he's just got this huge grin on his face. He's just loving every minute of it. He's just like, hey, you're doing fine, buddy. Keep it up. Keep it up.
I think she likes you.
Yeah, I think it's all good. You're doing great. You're really Ruby Rosing it over there. You're really sinking. What's your favorite shark scene?
The eating of Dwight Shrute, I think, was pretty good. Just because it was like you knew it was coming, it had to happen. There's no way he's going to survive this. And
it was
you get
still
that
a great
sense of relief. Yeah, you get that sense of relief, and then all of a sudden, snatch. He's done.
Yeah, it was good. Mine's like a tie between like the one that's in the trailer, that's the big Man of One chomp that I thought that was a great scene, and the paddle boarder, that's where it's like it's swimming right underneath it, and it's that great like shot there.
I did like when you earlier when you described that the shark was swimming quietly underneath people.
Yes.
As opposed to loudly.
He was just blaring his speakers and just like squawking his fins. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, here I come.
They see me swimming.
Trying to catch me swimming dirty.
I'm eating.
I meant like they didn't recognize. They didn't see him yet. That's what I was trying to say.
Stealthily
he was still stealthily swimming. Yes, not quietly swimming. How dare you? All right, man. Here are your quotes, and then we're going to say goodbye. We're going to rate this thing and say goodbye. Yeah. The first quote that you have to choose from is, of course, the one-syllable classic, Jason Statham as Jonas, the Megalodon.
Is the Megalodon.
It's a Megalodon.
The Megalodon.
The bigger Megalodon.
It's another Megalodon.
It's another bigger Megalodon.
Oh my God, it's so big, the
Megalodon. Oh my God, how is it bigger than the first 3 Megalodons?
Yes. I want 5 in the next one. Just like a nesting doll of 5.
Like they keep killing one and their nesting doll. The other one comes and snaps
at one. At one, it like opens its mouth and the other one comes out like the alien tongue.
Yeah. No, I want it to be like Scorcher. Just when you thought there couldn't be any more Megalodons, it happened 4
more times. And again. Okay, so Dwight, when he first meets Jonas, has one of my favorite lines in the movie. He says about not to Jonas, but to someone else walking with Jonas. He says, he looks heroic, and he walks fast, but he's kind of got a negative attitude.
Yes.
Oh, great. And the doc gets quote number 3. After finally getting won over by Jonas's heroic actions, he tells him, while they're like basically shaking hands, he says, "You might be a son of a bitch, but you sure ain't no coward." I'm more offended now that you called me that.
I'm actually neither of those things.
I'm not happy yet.
Saved a bunch of people. What does my mom have to do with anything?
Exactly. How dare you?
I should pan over to his mom and be like, "What the frick?"
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I got my Mac quote in here to round things off with number 4. He says, "If you want me to go instead, I will." And Jonas replies, "Nah, Mac, I got this." And Mac says, "Okay, good, because I was lying. Be safe," and pats him on the back. Yeah. All right, buddy. Which one's your favorite?
I got to go with the one syllable. That is a Megalodon.
You got to. We had way too much fun with it.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth on that. Yeah.
And it's in the trailer. So if people don't want to watch this movie and they don't want to spend the time, that is totally cool. Don't. Just watch the trailer. The trailer's great. It's got that line in it, and you will walk away happy just watching the trailer.
I'm going to give it a passing grade.
All right.
But I'm going to give it a 48. But then I'm going to bump it up to a 50 because it was pretty nice.
Nice. You're giving it a 50.
Yeah, I'm going to give it the mercy pass.
Because
technically it got a 48.
Because it had absolutely no references to pedophilia whatsoever. You're giving it a 50.
You, on the other hand, sir, get a failing grade.
Oh, my God. Stop it. You know what? Maybe I do get a failing grade this time. That's fine. I'm all right with that. All right, so you're giving it a 50. I'm giving it a 50 as well. We gave it a 50 on the nose. Yeah, nice. So we both said it's like just barely passable. We do recommend it, but just barely. It was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it is anymore, but I wouldn't watch this or buy it and spend a lot of money. I'd probably watch it for free.
Yeah. Hey, do you think there's anybody that's listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube right now that's like, "Oh shit, there was a whole second half? I turned it off after 47 minutes." They're like, I gotta go back and see
Oh
what
my
happens.
God, I
thought everybody lived.
Yeah, it was good. It was the short movie. I just assumed it was really long credits.
Oh, Jesus.
That shark takes a lot of programmers to CG,
Yeah.
so I just assumed it was 92 more minutes of credits.
I couldn't believe this 47-minute movie made $500 million, but I guess there it is.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it 2 failing grades. The critical score is a 46, while the audience score slightly lower, 42.
So despite being a massive success that made over $350 million, everybody's failing it. We're giving it mercy passes.
We're mercy passing it. It failed on everyone else. Yeah. That's great. I will say this. It made me feel like the shark was real at times. Like the threats in the movie had me like leaning forward and my heart was beating. Like it did. They did a good enough job with the CG that the threats felt real. So it didn't feel like a fake shark, even though it like is 100% CG the entire movie. So that to me is like a win. So that's worth the 50 right there. But there were no roundhouse kicks. So by Jason Statham. So you can't give it any higher than a 50, buddy.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah.
I like to give quotes from other critics that kind of wrap up how I feel about a movie. So Chris Klemek of NPR said, of all the thrillers made about a tender, juicy human splashing away from a ravenous giant shark, The Meg is undeniably the most recent.
Super good line.
Yeah, it is. It's so perfect.
And undeniable.
Yeah, it is undeniable. All right, man. Do you remember what we have coming up next?
Hit me with number 8. What's that?
All right. So we did a random number generator to pick our next movie, and the next movie we have after The Meg is Stephen King's The Mist.
Right.
What's going on?
It's death.
Something in the mist! Shut the doors! Shut the door!
Right.
Yes. Darren, do you remember this film?
Yep. And I can't believe I missed that one. You're welcome. Everybody have a good night.
No,
yeah,
yes,
I
please.
think we should definitely leave on that one.
We have to leave on that note. That is, we can't crawl out of that. We can't dig our way out of that hole. With that note,
everybody remember to like and subscribe and share with all your friends.
And we'll be back again with another episode real soon. So take care for now. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Steaming Pile of Awesome. And cut.
Yes.
Are you having trouble remembering your part?
No. I thought it's supposed to be okay. Whoever introduces it goes.
No, you have one.
Awesome.
You have one line.
Okay.
You have your
all
line.
Right.
You always have your line.
Let's
it's yours, man. You got to own it.
Okay, you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hello and welcome.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's do it this time. You ready?
We are not getting through this ever.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode.
Where we watch shitty movies, so you don't have
to. Darren's jumping the gun. Oh my god.